Hey everybody, welcome to my booth. I'm Jay, and this is Ben. Ben, we're going to listen to your sample here in a second, looking for just general audio quality feedback, where they're at, if any processing tips come up, etc., etc. So we got you covered, Ben. For everybody else, if you want me to review your audio, hey, send me something. There's a form. It's in the description. You can also, if you want to jump the line, you can join the Booth Buddies or go over to my website for some one-on-one coaching. Otherwise, thanks for being here. Thanks for clicking the buttons if you got the digits to do so. Alrighty. Get me out of here, Ben.
Introduction. It all started with a movie night. My brother and I were watching The Beekeeper, and we were left stunned by its gripping story. The movie follows Eloise Parker, a retired school teacher whose peaceful life unravels after falling victim to a phishing scam. She loses everything. Her life savings, and even over $2 million meant for charity.
Okay. Because we're looking at audio quality specifically, we got so much to work with already. All in all, you're sounding pretty darn good, Ben. So the setup for everybody else, and to flag for myself, Scarlett Solo interface, about $100 XLR mic. Recording in a closet. Hey, we've all been there. That was my first 2 years finding my feet in this whole game. And it's great sound in a closet. So you're sounding pretty good in terms of all of that stuff. And your processing in Reaper also sounds pretty darn solid in general. I will note a couple things. So first things first, I did normalize this to -3 dB. If you watch the waveform there, it just ticks up really slightly, but normalizing to -3 is a good habit to get into because it's a pretty solid industry standard in general, insofar as loudness specs. So for audiobooks, that's kind of like all of them. For auditions, getting in the habit of normalizing to -3 is just a good thing to get into the rhythm with. Now, in terms of your processing in general, I'm looking at this in Adobe Audition right now because it's more visual than Reaper is. But a lot of the things I'll talk about will translate to Reaper. Plugins are plugins. The concepts are the same, just packaged a little differently. But in terms of the way you've processed your audio, all in all, pretty solid. It sounds like you're using a gate of some kind. So I want to talk about that a little bit first. I'm hearing in your audio just a little bit of a pumping going on, not extreme to where if I didn't have my ear out for that kind of thing, it probably wouldn't bother me a ton, but there may be a subliminal, like, something sounds kind of weird here. And what I mean by pumping is it sounds like your gate is coming in when maybe we don't want it to be, or it's coming in too quickly at times. Particularly as you speak, there are just certain moments where it sounds like your noise gate is saying, oh, time to go, when maybe we don't want that. So I'm going to use this gate here to sort of demonstrate in an extreme way what I'm talking about. But there are a couple of reasons why pumping can happen with a noise gate. One is that your threshold is a bit too high.
The movie follows Eloise Parker, a retired school teacher whose
So that's a pretty extreme case where it's coming in a lot. Again, that's not what you're doing. Your threshold is much lower, but it's possible as well that your release is too fast. So a fast release, it just means that the noise gate, which literally acts like a gate, it opens and closes to let sound through or not. And if your release is too fast, I like to think of it like a hotel doorman or something, where if we go through the gate, the sound goes through the gate, but the doorman says, all right, they're through, and they close it, then we run the risk of clipping our coattails or our wedding dress trains or whatever it may be. So we want to make sure that the release is long enough that our speech, or flowing garments, whatever you want to call it, has enough time to get through the door, through the gate, before it closes on it. So you can do that. So again, you can either lower your threshold or you can increase your release. And some Some noise gates will have this hold metric as well. The hold is exactly what it says. It's if the gate becomes open and then we get quieter than the threshold, which is when the gate decides I'm either going to open or close. The audio's louder than the threshold, let's open. The audio's quieter than the threshold, let's close. The hold says if we get quieter than the threshold, if the person going into the hotel has gone through the door, let's just keep the door open for a couple milliseconds more to make sure everything's all the way through. Just to make sure they don't want to go back and forth. So essentially, if we look at like this section here in your audio, these bits are fairly loud, but these bits here, they get a little bit quieter than the surrounding. A hold, in some cases, might just say, hey, let's make sure that we hold the gate open through this whole thing, just to make sure that we are really done talking. So all to say, the hold and release in conjunction, you can tune them both back and forth to make sure that your gate isn't catching your garments. And whatever you think or whatever you prefer in terms of your processing gives you the best results is the best way to go. So that's the gate. And then the other thing that I was going to offer you is a little bit of an equalization going on. So this is sort of like a thing that I came up with here, but let's take this back to the default and I'll walk you through my thought process here. So first things first, it sounds like you've already got a high pass filter on. If you don't know what a high-pass filter is, anybody else out there, I've got a video or two on how to use an EQ. Go check that out. It's much more thorough than I'll be here, but it's there for you. And so in terms of your high-pass filter, we can play your audio and just sort of look at the waveform here of what information we're receiving. Again, EQ. You don't want to go visually, but it can be a good way to give us just like a quick check-in.
We're watching The Beekeeper, and we were...
So if we look at this waveform, we can see that your voice starts, the most information that is from you starts around here in these different mounds. And, sorry, it's very hot in Brooklyn today, so I'm getting a little steamy. So the high-pass filter, we can put that here, but if we want to, or if you wish to, we can also tune out room resonances. You may have been doing this before to some degree, but I'll walk through the process of how I'm doing it and why. So this little mound here, we know that that's a harmonic peak for you, meaning, anyway, I'm not going to get into that detail. But if we play your audio and we go through my process for finding resonant frequencies.
My brother and I were watching The Beekeeper, and we were left stunned by its gripping story. The movie follows Eloise Parker, a retired school teacher who's...
So you'll probably want headphones for those of you who are like, what the heck is he listening for? That's just where it starts to get like a little bit bell-like, honky in some ways. Honky may not be the right word, but we can just tone that down a bit. And this is something that you can do if you wish, but it's not necessary. We'll try one more here.
His peaceful life unravels after falling victim to a phishing scam. She loses everything, her life savings, and even over $2 million meant for charity. Overcome with despair.
There's a little bit there. We'll just take this guy down a little bit. And nice and easy. So if you want to do it, those are the numbers I'm coming up with for you. The last thing that I found actually helpful, and for those of you who are like, I want to know how to EQ my microphone, Ben here is working with a microphone or in an environment that might benefit ever so slightly from a little bit of a boost in my opinion, or at least me right now in this subjective moment. I'm like, yeah, let's try giving him a little bit of a boost. So if we play this a little bit.
Eloise takes her own life, leaving her friend Adam Clay, a quiet beekeeper, devastated. Determined to seek justice, Adam uncovers a dark web of
So it just adds, this is a high shelf boost at about 9,000 hertz. But it just adds a little bit of clarity, which is, I think, a little bit beneficial. And then the last thing that I was messing around with was there were a couple resonances here.
Seat, run by call center scammers, showing just how far such schemes can go. As the credits rolled, the movie left me with a mix of emotions: shock, anger, and a gnawing sense.
So this is a rough EQ setting that I came up with for you. These are the ones that I'm using. Now, all of this with the huge caveat that I think you sound just fine without this. This just sort of gussies it up a little bit more. Feel free to take it if you wish or not. Otherwise, aside from those two little things regarding your noise gate and a little bit of EQ, I think you're sounding pretty good, my friend. If you want to talk performance stuff, let me know. Happy to go through this with you either down the road or in another coaching session, whatever works. But yeah, really, really great work, Ben. Thanks for sending this in to us. For everybody else, I hope you're staying cool. Again, it's steamy here in Brooklyn, so Godspeed. Anyway, happy Thursday, and talk to you soon. Or I'll see you in the next... Toodles.